Good morning. Who's your papa? How's everyone doing? It's like June 27th, I think it is. It's been a while since I posted anything. Hope everybody's good. So, just got back from a secret mission to the mountains. Went to Mammoth Lakes. Spent 5 days camping with my team, which included a total of about 24 people once we counted it all out. There were extended family and friends and neighbors, and all get together once a year up in the mountains and do some camping. Ooh, look at that. Oh, let's look at this. I see a fig on the ground, which means there may be ripe figs in the tree. I don't know. There's one there. There's one here. Ooh, that's really soft. Almost feels too soft. Here's another one here. That's really soft. These are really soft. I wonder if they're good. They feel super, super soft. I've wanted to kind of taste the figs off of this tree for quite a while. Let's try this one up here. That feels too hard. That's a little better. Here's one down here. You know, these have to be ripe because they're super soft. I'm gonna take them with me. I'm not gonna eat them right now. I'm gonna take them with and try them at home. I was talking about being up in the mountains. Yes, we were up at Mammoth Lakes, which is stunningly beautiful this time of the year. And normally it's acceptably warm. Well, ironically, the weather turned and we were confronted with some pretty strong winds tied with cold temperatures. And at one point, it got down to 28 degrees, and you tie in a wind chill with winds 20-ish miles an hour. That was cold. All of us were freezing, bundled up. At one point in time, I had thermal long johns on. I had my camp pants. I had a short sleeve t-shirt, a long sleeve thermal shirt, my hoodie, and then a heavy coat on top of that, and a beanie with my hoodie up on it, and I was still frozen. It was just too cold for too many days. I do not like the cold. Give me some summer sunshine. But luckily that only lasted a couple days, and then it warmed up quite a bit. And at one point in time, all of us went to Convict Lake and hung out on the shore, and everybody was in shorts and t-shirts and tank tops, and a few of the people went out on kayaks, and people were fishing and catching fish, and my son caught some fish. My lovely bride caught some fish. They actually went fishing in Mammoth Creek, did some creek fishing. That's where they caught their fish. Beautiful fish. Cooked those puppies up, a little salt and pepper on the old Blackstone, and man, I tell you what, that is some good stuff. Yeah, great time was had by all. And our little reconnaissance vehicle did well on the 5 days. My batteries held up. I had solar. Enough of it was coming through the trees. Only one time did I have to fire up the old generator to keep things charged. A great success, I should say. Great success. It was wonderful spending time with everyone. Came home to find that it had been not crazy hot at home, which is good for the plants. And I was able to harvest a ripe wild sapote, a ripe Barbados cherry, my very first time tasting it, and I shared it with all the family. I got one cherry off my tree. Hundreds and hundreds of blooms, one cherry ripened. Not unusual for a first-time tree. You know, it just got transplanted and it's just getting settled in. That's fine. That's okay. Ooh, are those ripe? Oh, I love summertime. I believe these are apricots. And I'm really tempted to have one. This tree's right on the street. And I'll leave it. I'll leave it to the squirrels. In addition to the Barbados cherry, we had lots of tomatoes and strawberries and still some blueberries left. And I noticed that my wax jambu was just starting to flower. It's got lots of buds on it, but none of the flower buds had opened up. It takes a long time. Didn't realize that. Oh my goodness. The smell off of that flower, absolutely intoxicating. It was great. My new starfruit tree, this Sri Cambogan starfruit tree, starfruits are plumping up, growing quite a bit. Leaves have perked up, which means that the tree is happy in its new pot and it's gathering up nutrients. Lots of new growth. So that makes me happy. Jackfruit tree is putting out new growth. What else? All the seedlings did well. Even the strawberries that are planted in a cloth planter that don't do well if they don't get watered after a couple days, they all survived, which is kind of nice. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, my black sapote has a flower that's just getting ready to open. Yeah, all sorts of good stuff. I love summertime. It's fantastic. Today is my least favorite day to walk because it's Friday and it's trash day. So all of the trash cans are out on the street and you can smell them. And the trash trucks are really loud and obnoxious. And they travel at about the same, just a little bit more than walking speed. So if one goes by, it's with you for a long time. Kind of sucks. But you know, I was walking back there a little ways and I'm walking along the street. No trash cans around at this particular part of the street. But here's where somebody had pulled off to the side of the road, eaten some Taco Bell, and fucking tossed the trash out the window. What prompts somebody to do that? You know, why? Why do you have to do that? And I think it's an asshole move. You know, just keep it in your car until you find a garbage can and put it in a garbage can. It's not that difficult. Now, am I an angel? Have I ever littered? Maybe at one point in time when I was younger, you know, but you live and learn. I mean, we have to live in this neighborhood, in this world, and to willingly clutter it up like that, Jesus Christ, it's just wrong in so many ways. Sorry, had to get that off my chest. Here's a front yard where somebody has tried to beautify it a little bit. Some little teeny tiny plants that have been planted. They're keeping it watered, so these plants will grow. But what is that? That's very interesting. I've never seen anything like that before. That's a really pretty plant. You know, the one nice thing I can comment on is now that school is out, there's almost no traffic on the residential streets. That's a bonus. Because it's Friday, I have to deal with the trash trucks. But other than that, no cars going by. Bonus time. Here's one of our favorite yards that we stop at often. Look at all of the variegated lemons coming out on this tree. And a couple that are not variegated. That's the scoop. That's what you see sometimes. All right. And there's still a flower up there. Well, this guy's not doing all that great. He could use some mulch. This stone fruit, look at all the new growth on that. My goodness, that's like 2 feet of new growth. Oh, look. I didn't realize, is this a stone fruit? Yeah, what are these? Huh. Are those some kind of plums, maybe? Yeah. it'll be fun to come back and see what they are. Pomegranate with flowers on it. My pomegranate dropped pretty much all the flowers. Something about where it's at, it doesn't like it. Oh, look, there's some figs on there. Our favorite ivy. Oh, look how much bigger the mulberry is. There's probably no fruit left on it, but boy, is it getting big, coming clear onto the sidewalk here. Yeah, it's gonna, they're probably gonna have to take down this wrought iron thing sometime next year because it's gonna grow a lot. Yep, mulch, people, mulch. It really needs it because that's just gonna turn into concrete. That mud down there. There's another mulberry, junk tree, pomegranate, citrus, stone fruit. I don't know if there's any fruits on it. I don't see any. Another stone fruit. Yeah, they would do so much better with mulch. Just, you know, just so much better. And also, see how the sticks are right there along the trunk? It's one of the first things they teach you is to take those nursery stakes out and stake it up about a foot on each side. So the trunk of the tree gets a little stronger with each breath of wind. I talk like I know what I'm talking about. But, you know, I mean, I've watched hundreds and hundreds of hours of YouTube videos, literally, you know, learning how to plant trees and how to grow seedlings and how to take care of tropical fruit trees. Yeah, it's become an obsession, and I guess as time goes on, you do gain a little knowledge and you see what works and what doesn't. About a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, I replanted all my Jaboticaba seedlings because they just weren't growing well, and they should be growing quite a bit now that it's summertime. So I checked the soil, and originally I thought I was doing the right thing, and I potted them with a combination of sand and potting soil. No bueno. It was way too heavy. And the roots at the bottom were, they weren't rotting, but they were constantly super moist, which I've heard that Jaboticabas like, but it just didn't feel right. So I repotted them, shook off all of that heavy dirt, and I used ChatGPT to look up and say, hey, I have some Jaboticaba seedlings that need to be replanted. They're currently planted in a very sandy mix that seems to be too heavy. What do you recommend? And it came back with like 40% perlite and 20% potting soil and 20% this and 20% that. And I actually told ChatGPT, I said, these are the soil amendments that I have available. What do you recommend? And it came up with this mix. Such a lighter, more breathable mix. When you water it, the water just goes right through. Requires a little bit more watering, but that's fine. I'd rather have those roots grow well and the tree thrive than not. So I just picked a couple more figs off of a different neighborhood tree that I know about. I didn't see any on the ground yet, but these figs still on the tree were getting a little soft, so I went ahead and picked them and had some latex coming out the top. And I can't remember whether latex means that they're ripe or not ripe yet, or whether it doesn't matter. I'm kind of teaching myself to learn how to eat figs. I've never really cared for them that much, but I've heard somebody say, a big fig farmer, say that there's so many different types of figs. I think I've mentioned this before. There's so many different types of figs that if you like fruit, there is a fig somewhere that you're gonna like. So I'm growing a few fig trees. Let's see what we get. And I've got a pocket full of figs right now. I don't know how they'll be after 3 more miles. They may be a little mushy-gushy, but we'll try them when we get home. We'll see. Wow. The last time I walked by here, which was about a week ago, this was all dirt. They had not landscaped it yet. Look at how much the grass has grown in a week or so, give or take. Wow, crazy. Looks decent though. Heading up the street. Want to hear a little story? Music always reminds me of particular events. You know, whenever I hear a particular song, it reminds me of a particular event. Well, the song that's on right now is Styx, Best of Times. That was the theme of my high school prom, which was held in downtown Portland at, gosh, I'm not going to remember the name of the place. It was at, you know, like a pavilion hall or something like that. I don't remember. Well, anyway, there were 4 of us that went to the prom together. And when we parked in the parking lot, as we got out of the car, we saw this blonde woman, pretty cool looking blonde woman, get out of this red Porsche. I think it was a 944, could have been a 928. And I said, "Oh my God, that's Nancy Wilson from Heart." Well, you know, Heart is from the Seattle area, which is only, you know, about 3 hours north of Portland. So it's not surprising to me that she would be in downtown Portland for one reason or another. And she heard me and turned her head. Oops, that was a B. She turned her head and smiled and walked away. And, you know, we were still probably 40, 50 feet away from her. And I'm like, "Oh my God, it's Nancy Wilson." Nobody believed me. And as we got up to the Porsche, we looked into the back hatch and there were cassette tapes in there, you know, like demo reel 1 with a date on it and demo reel 2 with another date, and, you know, all these kind of things. And you know, just tapes just thrown in back there, like she had been randomly recording stuff on a tape player and just toss it in her car in case she needs it or something. It was pretty cool. And that was my memory that I got from listening to Styx, Best of Times. Other than I remember there was a banner inside the hall that said Best of Times. That's all I remember. I don't remember anything else. Well, I remember the girl that I was with, my high school sweetheart. But that was about it. Wow, check out this jacaranda tree in full glory right now. Look at that. And the whole driveway is purple. The whole sidewalk. They make such a mess. There we go. Well, I'm coming up the last hill towards my house. 4.21 miles so far. Great little walk on a Friday. I may have to do a little addendum video after this, showing me cutting open those figs. Who knows what they look like being in my pocket for 4 miles. Anyway, hope everybody has a great Friday, and be good humans, love one another, and yeah, just be good. See ya. This means that I'm almost home. Okay, so we're gonna try out these figs and that I picked up on this morning's walk and see what they're like. The top 2, those are from a local fig tree that I have not tasted figs off of before, and they're pretty squishy. They got squishy in my pocket too after 4 miles of walking, so we'll see. These bottom 2, they're a little bit firmer but still squishy. So this was from another tree in the neighborhood that I actually have tasted the figs off of, and they were decent, but you know, not anything amazing. So I did not see any on the ground though, so these may not be ripe. Let's open them up. Okay, well, I'm really glad that I didn't go through the effort of trying to taste these on the trees. These are obviously figs that were getting ready to be dropped because they're no good. It's kind of cool. When you look at figs, you can see they're an inside-out flower. That's the flower. They're nowhere near ripe. They actually smell very vegetal. Yeah, there's no sweetness at all to these. They're just not ready to be ripe yet. But I don't know much about figs, so I picked them, and you know, I wanted to see. All right, maybe next time we'll have some ripe ones.